Yo, what is going on, guys? Alex here with TheCardGuyz, and today I just wanted to chill back and talk with you guys about a really debated topic. Everybody has their own opinions on this topic. I figured I'd go ahead and give you my opinions to let you try to decide what you want to do in further matches. And it's something that really affects the game from the beginning. When you start a match of Yu-Gi-Oh! Or whatever game, you roll a die, you ask your opponent, do you want to call high roll? You call high roll, and then you determine who wants to go first or second. Now, right off the bat, you're asked to make a really important decision that's going to affect the game immensely. If you draw a hand where you're like, wow, I could really go off with this hand, but you're going second and your opponent's already set 4 traps, and you start to go off and they're like, you're playing Necros, and you start to go off and they're like, mistake. And you're like, well, if I was going first, I could have done all kinds of stuff, but now I can literally do nothing. And so, determining going first or second is kind of a hard decision because there's a lot of decks in the meta right now that want to go second, and then there's a lot of decks in the meta right now that say, okay, I'm going to go first so I can beat the guys that want to go second. Alright, and so there's also another thing that I want to bring to your attention is before a match starts, you're allowed to ask your opponent how many cards are in their deck. And now a lot of the Necros players are playing 43, 44 cards. And so there's been a lot of people asking, hey, how many cards are in your main deck? This feels a little thick. And they're like, oh, I'm playing 43 cards. Oh, okay, well, I'm going to go second and make the Necros person go first. Because Necros are a combo-based deck, which is my first kind of key point that I want to point out for determining whether you want to go first or go second. A combo-based deck generally wants to go second because the more cards you have in your hand, the more opportunities you're going to have, to get to your main combo or whatever the combo is that your deck is supposed to perform. Now, Necros obviously have about 50 different combos they can perform, and they almost never do the first turn play the same. Like it's very different because there's so many counters, there's so many different kinds of things that they want to do. If it's game 2 and they're playing Clifforths, maybe they want to put a Gungnir on the field so they can pop scouts if they didn't draw MST. Maybe they want to gen lock if they're playing the Necros. Maybe or whatever. There's just so many different things that they can do based off of the cards in their hand, so they want to have as many to start with as possible. Then you go towards the going first side of things. I've heard some Necros players talk about, oh, I don't get why people want to go second, I want to go first all the time, and that's I guess the most important thing that I can see with going first is because there are so many other Necros players out there right now. If they go first, they want to take that risk of being able to go ahead and gen lock. Because if you gen lock first turn and your opponent has no out to it, within the first turn or two, if they haven't drawn an out to it, then they just lose the game. Because obviously you're just going to put some more monsters on the field, attack, and they can't do anything about it. And so, yeah, going first can be beneficial in a combo-based deck. I'm not saying that you always want to go second, but it's kind of like you just have to determine how your deck is formatted. Like, do you have enough outs in your deck to where if you go second, that it shouldn't cause any problems for you if your opponent has an answer? Like, in Burning Abyss, for example. Technically, or I guess most likely, I would say that Burning Abyss wants to go first. Because Burning Abyss is yes, it's combo-based, but they have so many monsters in their deck that it just does not matter. They have 5 cards in their hand or 6 cards in their hand. It's not going to matter. Most likely they're going to be able to make double Dante because all they have to have is like either a tour guide or they have to have 2 monsters in hand, and then they can make a Dante, get lucky on the mill, make another Dante, set a Fire Lake, pass. That's the kind of turns that they want to do. They want to set up to be able to destroy their opponent's side of things. If they have Fire Lake in their main deck, I would almost certainly say that they want to go first. But, so everybody has their different opinions, and that's why I'm presenting this to you. Burning Abyss can also lose very hard to Vanity's Emptiness, which is another reason why I would suggest that they go first. If they don't have an out to Vanity's Emptiness right off the bat, they're forced to just set a card and pass. And that's really bad against a lot of decks right now. Like, say if Yosenjus go first, and they set their back row and pass it to Burning Abyss. Burning Abyss reveals, they have flip Emptiness, they have no out, pass it back, flood 4 monsters onto the field, or flood 3 monsters onto the field, attack, they're put in a bad situation right off the bat. And Yosenjus can play around Vanity's Emptiness like it's nobody's business, They don't have to special summon at all. And so, I guess I'll go over a couple of like the top, a couple of the other top decks. I've already gone over Necros. Yosenjus, typically, some people argue with me, Yosenjus aren't a top deck. Okay, let's be honest, guys. Yes, they are definitely threatening to be a top deck right now. Just the ability to play around Emptiness, to main all these floodgates, to not main floodgates if they don't want to main floodgates, they just main other traps and other, ridiculously good cards like Bottomless Warning, just all the one-ofs that they can main with no problem. They can main Double Dark Hole Regeki because they never leave a monster on the field. Just lots of stuff that hurt the meta right now. And also another reason that they hurt the meta is because cards like Dark Hole and Regeki don't affect them at all, and everybody's main decking them because of how good they are against everything else. And so instantly there's like several dead cards in your deck. But anyway, Yosenjus either play two different kinds of builds that I've seen. A really stun-based build and a really trap-heavy build. The stun-based build plays like Fossil Dinos and Thunder Kings and or Thunder Kings. Let's hope for that on the ban list. A Thunder King, Fossil Dinos, and lots of floodgates, and just really stun-based cards. Obviously, y'all know what stun-based cards are. And like I said, the other build is like the really trap-heavy build. Lots of like all the one-ofs, Vanity's Emptiness. They don't play the Fossil Dinos and stuff that going first would benefit from. If you're playing Fossil Dino, you can just set Fossil Dino and pass your turn with a couple of traps. But if you're not playing any cards that you can set first turn, chances are Yosenjus are going to want to go second, because there's not a whole lot Yosenjus can do first turn. I mean, if you're playing a lot of floodgates, I guess you could say that you want to go second, but then if you get put up against a deck that your floodgates aren't really doing a whole lot against, like Clifforths, you've just given them an extra card in their hand to go off with, which Clifforths would really benefit from. And so, if you're going first with Yosenjus, your monsters are just going to come back to your hand. You can't attack. I wouldn't really recommend going first with Yosenjus. I would want to go second, have more options in your hand, and actually be able to do something with the monsters that turn. So that'll bring us to Clifforths. Clifforths is obviously an amazing deck whether it goes first or second. It doesn't really matter. They just have to have Scout in their hand. From my point of view, I would recommend going first with Clifforths. If everybody's main decking MST right now, if Clifforths, if they get a Scout in their hand, or chances are you're only going to have one Scout in your hand. Obviously, you can have two in your hand, but that happens like 75% less, less of the time than in just having one in your hand. And so just bank on having that one. If you go first, it resolves, you get your plays, you set up your board, maybe put like an unstoppable like stealth on the field, and you're set. Set your skill drains, set your emptiness, whatever, you're set, you're good to go. But that play can be completely stopped if you go second. You only have one Scout in your hand, you play the Scout, they MST it, they have a big board, or they have, Necros, whatever, say they have a Gungnir on the field or whatever, or it's Yosenjus and they have 3 back row, and then, you summon your carrier, they bottomless, and you just lose the game because you don't have any advantage after that. You've lost both of your pieces, you have to rely on drawing a Scout and them not having another answer to it, which all of that could have been changed just by going first. Now, obviously, like I said, going first and going second is a really debated topic because of how many options and how deck based it is. So don't ever let anybody tell you, oh, your deck, you can't go first with that deck. You can go first with your deck. You just have to figure out, because everybody's build's different. Everybody wants to incorporate different things. into their build, and so like even just like 2 or 3 cards difference is going to make a difference between whether going first or going second is a good thing for you or not. There's one card in particular I wanted to talk about, and that's Denko Sekka. Now, going first with Denko Sekka in your build doesn't seem like a very relevant thing, right? Well, you're right. Going second if you put Denko Sekka in your build. If you're playing 3 of them, definitely go second. If you're playing 2, you have the option to go first, but I wouldn't recommend it. Because if they set 4, they set 3, even against Clifforths, you know, like, I put them in the main deck again. I'll side them in against Clifforths because if I'm playing Necros, because, you know, they're going to side in skill drain, or if they have a 3rd skill drain, they're probably going to side in a 3rd one because not many people play 3 of them. The Emptiness, the Mind Drain, Mistake, all these different side deck cards they have for Necros. A lot of people don't think you're going to side in Denko for Clifforths, so they're not going to preemptively activate them because you're already siding in MSTs and Twisters and all that sort of thing, and they don't want to go ahead and lose their floodgates right off the bat. So you just drop Denko, their 2 or 3 back row becomes dead, keyed over their monster, you know, and then they have 1 card, 2 cards in hand, and what do they do after that? You know, they pretty much lose. So that's a really good card going second. I have a couple other things here. I guess going first, I would do it if you're playing a trap heavy build. After siding, everything changes. If you're siding in a lot of floodgates, go first. Get your floodgates on the field. You know, go ahead and get them activated so you just shut your opponent out completely. Going first if you're afraid of getting Emptiness. If you're afraid of getting Emptiness and you don't have a whole lot of hate for it in your deck, say you just have 3 MSTs in your deck, we don't want to lose right off the bat to Emptiness, so going first would be an option to get around that. And just make sure you get your plays off. Like I said, you don't want to lose the floodgates. Also, going first in Necros if you want to get your Djinn lock off. Now going second. Going second if you play Denko Sekka. Go second in Necros if you want to get your Trishula off. Trishula's the best card in that deck if you don't resolve it. A lot of the times you will lose if your Trishula gets stopped. I'm not saying that you're going to lose if your Trishula stops, but like that's the main play of the deck. If you're a combo-based deck, go second. If you're a stun-based deck, I recommend going first. Also, you can mess with your opponent. Now that we're past like the go first if you do this, go second if you do this, well now you can start getting into like the tricky area. Being able to play a good game of YuGiOh, and I'm talking about beating your opponent with a mental game. Ask your opponent how many cards are in their deck. If they say 43, make them go first, right? If you're after side decking and you know they're playing Necros, go first, let them go second. They'll be like, why did you let me go second or something, you know, like do things that aren't expected, and it could throw your opponent off. You always want to keep it fresh. You always want to play a mind game. YuGiOh is like poker. It's you can lie and cheat and whatever to get your way to the top, but you know, it's more being deceitful. Like, I'm not saying cheat and lie to get your way to the top like a few players have been doing recently. I'm saying you can be deceitful, you can be, you know, I don't know the right word for it right now, like leaning your opponent in the wrong direction, you know, to make them think you're doing something you're not. It's a mind game, like it's just like poker, it's a mind game. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say, you know, for going first or going second. Let me know in the comments down below what deck you're playing and whether you like to go first or go second. It's a really debated topic, so it'll be great to see the comments down below and hear your opinions on it. Those were my opinions, and I'm Alex with TheCardGuyz, and I will see you